Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Kira Show here. Now before I begin and get to the video, someone has asked me to actually link my Discord in the description below, so I will be doing so in case any of you guys would like to join. I believe I also need to find the link to another person's RP server for My Hero Academia, so if you guys are also interested in that, you can check it out in the description below. Now, let us get into the video. When we last left off, Bakugo and Ida were actually talking more about Bakugo's quirk and the way it works. And Deku was actually talking with Ibara in Recovery Girl's medical room for the sports festival, talking about how her hair is going to need to be cut and how some of the vines are essentially going to be ruined by the fire if they are not cut. If not, they're going to be ruined even worse. As she would agree to this, Recovery Girl would begin cutting her hair, and Deku would walk out as he hears that he is now up to fight, and he has to go against Jiro. Deku's thinking that Jiro might be one of his more dangerous opponents, as she was actually able to learn more of the language than anyone else in Hell. So he immediately walks in to the ring, and as soon as he gets into the ring, he immediately puts his hands up. But he still has his feet straightened out forward, so he's basically doing what Ida does as soon as he brings both of his hands up, but he's not doing the hand motions. So as soon as President Mike says go, Deku immediately just covers his ears as Jiro plugs her headphones into herself and she begins a sonic scream. As soon as this happens, Jiro actually begins reciting the language that the demons use, actually creating ear-piercing screams and actually high-pitched screeches so loud that it actually shatters every single piece of glass in the stadium, even the ones in the stands and actually some of the neighborhoods nearby. Now, as that's happening, Deku's essentially holding his ears closed and he actually begins to feel blood cover his hands. As this happens, Jiro actually begins using her gauntlets, plugging into them, and she is still reciting the language as she amplifies her own voice along with the gauntlets. Now, while this is happening, Deku actually thinks this is not good. See, she is essentially trying to go overboard too fast, and he can actually see the strain that's going on in her body. Because doing this physically is not good, but he actually sees the blood actually piling up in her mouth and she's just holding it back. And he can also see the bloodshot in her eyes and thinking that this will not last very long if she goes on like this. He would actually walk over to her and knock her out, surprising everyone as they can finally uncover their ears, but they are still having a hard trouble hearing things. While they are doing that, people are actually trying to talk to each other, and they would actually watch as Deku drops to his knees and is actually coughing up quite a little bit of blood. And his ears are also bleeding. So Deku would immediately pick up Jiro and take her over to Recovery Girl's medical room. As this happens, Deku would see Ibara, and Ibara is still kind of shy about showing off her hair, so she's just covered with a towel right now. So Deku would just say fine, he'll essentially see her after the sports festival. So she shouldn't feel that bad about it, as Deku would immediately walk back over to the stands and sees everyone trying to pick up all the glass. As soon as that happens, this is whenever Mei and Momo would actually be called to the arena. People would immediately watch Mei essentially catapult herself into the ring, landing and immediately pulling out her staff, essentially showing it off, and people are even more impressed. She's not using her support gear for the race, but she's using the staff and the boots. Essentially, she's using two support items that one she already showed off. Now, she's actually using this other one to show exactly how these gadgets can work and how they can actually be more portable, other than something super bulky, like her other type of gear that she was going to use in the original canon. Now, as that happens, Momo actually hops into the ring also, creating an adamantine staff, as she would actually say a couple words and it immediately begins glowing. People didn't really understand these words, but the fact that her weapon now glows is no good indication. As they hear go, people are talking that she is not actually going to try and fight against someone from Class 1A, right? No, I think she's just going to try and give a good show. No, wait, she's actually fighting. Wait. Okay, who do you think's going to win? I'm not really sure. Are purple-haired hottie or Class 1A hottie? Class 1A is hottie. As Mineta would immediately speak up saying it doesn't matter as long as they enjoy the show, you would immediately see Ida walking over with a baseball bat, actually getting ready to take aim. But let's cut to the fight. Momo and Mei are essentially both connecting blows, but anytime Momo's hits actually connect with Mei's staff, Mei essentially just breaks it apart and tries to go for a hit with one of them while she's still dodging, or blocking with the other one. But Momo would actually know about this little move because she tried doing it for their training. So she actually somewhat predicted it, and essentially the phrase she used on her staff, as soon as Mei's weapon makes contact with the staff, it essentially gets stuck in it and she tries pulling it away. But as soon as that happens, Momo actually just whips the staff backwards, and as soon as she moves it forward, it immediately forms a giant fly swatter. This kind of confuses her as she's never really seen this, but she thinks she knows what it is. She would immediately just let go of the piece that's still stuck in her staff and immediately jump backwards, actually saying she can't believe she's using that. I thought we weren't going to use this type of stuff during the whole sports festival. Well, why not? Heck, we might have to use it against Deku. Well, you got a fair point there, Yayorozu. But if you're going to do it, then I'm going to do it also. As she immediately says a few words into her weapon, and it begins glowing pink. This kind of confuses everyone as she immediately just turns the weapon over to Momo and immediately begins firing laser beams toward her. These are essentially pink, and as soon as they connect with anything, they just start sticking things to the wall. This is essentially the use of magic. Now, I know magic doesn't really work in the Demon Slayer world, if not, it's not there, but I'm at least adding it so it helps the story feel a little more real. Because you gotta think about it, witches, demons, werewolves, all this stuff kind of makes sense if you apply Hell being another dimension. It's just like a forgotten language that unlocks things we don't know about. Now, as she's actually firing this off at Momo, Momo is still using her giant spatula to block, as she actually gets close enough to Mei, cocking it backwards over her head, turning it into a giant mallet, actually coming down to actually hit Mei with it. Mei would immediately say this, and she would immediately begin saying something as Momo would let go of the mallet, actually going to cover her ears. But as soon as the sound stops, she actually goes to create a shield in front of her hands. She would create the shield as Mei immediately just hits it, creating a loud ding. While that happened, everyone's watching and they're still kind of confused. Mei would immediately begin reciting another thing, as her weapon would immediately start flying back towards her. She would actually go to jump, and she would jump over Momo's shield, grabbing her weapon, actually putting it back together into a giant staff, and actually just cocking it backwards, reciting another pair of words, and immediately just throwing it forwards, grabbing one end of it as it begins just stretching like rubber and glue or bubblegum. As soon as that happens, Momo immediately turns around and gets met with it in the butt of her nose, as it hits her in the nose, knocking her to the ground, actually knocking her out. This actually surprises everyone in the support course as they begin shouting that she has beat someone from 1A, and Monoma is kind of pissed off, but 1B is really excited, because that means 1A essentially is also invincible. Except for that Midoriya guy. He frightens everyone. Now, while that's going on, people are still thinking about where they should go, or what essentially these 10 students are. Because they think Momo was one of them, but they also think Mei was one of them. Because they both displayed the similar skills. Now, while that's happening, this is whenever we will have Mina versus Tetsu Tetsu. This fight actually seems a bit more interesting to me because I'm not really sure how hardening your body will work against acid. I believe Mina would actually win because acid can corrode metal. So I want to say she'd probably break Tetsu Tetsu's quirk and immediately knock him out of the ring, or at least punch him in the face, and have to fight him without his quirk. Now, because of that, I will say that she wins, and we have Kaminari versus Ochako. This is a bit easy to predict, but this one is kind of interesting to me, because I don't think I've ever seen any fight like this. Now, people immediately watch as Zero Gravity, or Gravity, and 1,000,000 volts immediately walk into the ring together. Kaminari actually turns on his electricity, and people watch this as they think that this is exactly like Bakugo's full cowling. Bakugo would say, yeah, he kinda needed a little help, so me and Deku taught him about it. As this is happening, Kaminari immediately begins using a bit of lightning magic, as Ochako uses a bit of gravity magic. She essentially begins levitating the entire ring as it begins floating 10 to 20 feet off the ground. People are watching this as this is kind of confusing, as she actually touches the ring using her own quirk on it, and immediately begins pulling it up higher. As soon as that happens, Kaminari immediately begins trying to shoot lightning through his fingertips, trying to essentially knock Ochako out of the ring. And he's actually charging this through his quirk, so it actually is more effective. So it's more like a lightning bolt. But it just doesn't have that extra kick to it. Now, while they are fighting, Ochako is actually trying to figure out a good way to use this, as she uses the magic and actually just releases it on a tab, or at least one of the squares in the ring. This square individually just falls down, hitting the ground. As people see this, they're essentially seeing what Ochako thinks she has. As Ochako's found another thing she can do with her quirk, where she can tap certain things, and she can actually select which one she can drop. Like, if someone were to throw a can of deodorant at me, a can of cologne, and a cup full of coffee, if I were to tap all three of these, and I wanted one thing, I can release it with my fingertips, have the cologne fall into my hand, spray it, immediately put it back in the air, and actually just take a sip of my coffee after just releasing again. Basically, it works kind of like that. Now, while this is happening, Ochako would eventually be able to drop most of the tiles on his side of the ring, forcing him somewhat into a corner. He might be reading and studying a bit more, but he is still Kaminari. As he would eventually find he has no other choice but to try and use the 1,000,000 volts. As he would do so, Ochako would actually release every single bit of the ring, actually making it drop as Kaminari's aim essentially went from towards her to upwards into the sky around the stadium. As he immediately fires this off, this lightning bolt immediately just goes out of the ring and out of the stadium, flying very far away. Now, as that's happening, Deku would immediately see this, and he would just say that Kaminari is an idiot. Yeah, what's new? No, I mean, as he points downward out of the ring, as Kaminari is giving his whole thumbs up thing. Is that the sound he actually makes, though? Anyways, Ochako would be crowned the winner, and let us begin over to Shinsho versus Tokoyami. This one's going to be a bit of a doozy. Now, yeah, let's see. Shinsho would have actually been able to try and use Tokoyami's revelry in the dark against him, and I want to say he would probably get Dark Shadow to at least talk. And since Dark Shadow is considered a sentient part of his quirk, I want to say Dark Shadow would actually force Tokoyami out of the ring. I'm not exactly sure how that works, because they're essentially not symbiotic, but they're basically two different people in one body. Huh. That still confuses me. Anyways, that at least would cause Shinsho to be in the semi, if not around the semifinals. Now, May, what is it? No, not May. What the heck is going on in my head? No, Todoroki versus Bakugo, I believe. Okay. Todoroki versus Bakugo. No, wait. Yeah, okay. Todoroki versus Bakugo, I believe, because he beat Ida. Alright, Todoroki versus Bakugo, I believe. This would be Todoroki versus Bakugo. Todoroki's telling Bakugo that essentially this isn't going to work for him, and he's going to win. And this is whenever Bakugo is to say he doesn't really care as long as he uses his other side. This is whenever Todoroki would just say he's not really concerned about using the other side, as he doesn't care about them anymore. He just cares about winning and not being like his father. That bastard's the reason why his mother's in an asylum and he has a scar. So, your dad gave you that scar, why don't you just report him to the authorities? He's not the one who did this to me. My mother was. Okay, edgelord. Anyways, as he says that he's pretty sure his whole deal with All Might is he's probably a secret love child. But he might just also be Deku's brother. Because Deku essentially has the same type of enhancement part, along with a different quirk, but Bakugo has the enhancement and explosion portion. Bakugo would just say they're friends, but they're not brothers. They've known each other for over 12 years now. Dude, you're 15, so you guys knew each other since you were 3? Nope, that 1 year in hell, man. People keep forgetting about it, but it's hard to forget when you're there. No eating, no sleeping, and no drinking food. That is pretty insane. Yeah, you guys still keep mentioning that. I still don't really believe you. Oh yeah, no, we didn't believe Deku at first, but there it was. Now, after that, Bakugo would immediately meet Todoroki in the ring. As people keep cheering on Bakugo, Bakugo would immediately shoot a thumbs up and immediately just point at Deku. As Deku immediately just points back at Bakugo, people are watching this, and some of them are actually smirking and laughing at it. As Todoroki would just hear go, he immediately shoots an ice pillar, and Bakugo would just immediately bring up his hand with his glove and fire through it with his armor-piercing shot, actually using his enhancement, boosting the power even better. Now, while that's going on, Bakugo is actually looking at this, and Todoroki is thinking that he essentially just needs to push Bakugo out of the ring with enough power. But those gloves are going to be a problem. He needs to essentially get up close and burn those gloves off of Bakugo's hands. So Todoroki would actually be trying to get up close and personal with Bakugo. He would immediately try going up the ice ramp, what's left of it, and he would be able to get to the top of it, actually firing his way toward Bakugo. But Bakugo would immediately charge up full cowling and jump his way. I want to say he's using at least 20%, because he knows not to go overboard or overexert himself. He's just trying to save his stamina for his fight with Deku. Now, while this is going on, Bakugo, he's charging for Todoroki, and Todoroki's thinking that he's fast, as he immediately just turns his body weight sideways, somewhat dodging Bakugo's left hand, as he immediately charges up his fire, burning one side of Bakugo's face, along with actually taking off, if not him trying to scorch the leather of Bakugo's hands, and Bakugo would be able to immediately tell that he's just trying to get rid of the gloves. As he immediately goes to fire again, he actually sees Todoroki put up another ice wall and actually just throw fire through it afterward. Todoroki is actually just trying to use his quirk. Well, yeah, quirk, I believe you can call it. It feels weird not referring to those two as two different sides. He would begin using his quirk and immediately just start firing at Bakugo, as Bakugo's still having a bit more trouble. It would get to the point where Bakugo is actually able to turn it up to 40%, overpowering Todoroki and just blasting away all of his ice. Now, while this is happening, Todoroki is thinking that he essentially has no choice, he's going to have to do it again, as he goes to do another ground zero. Essentially, more recklessly, Bakugo would immediately charge at him with 100%, actually throwing as much power his way, essentially firing an explosion at point blank at Todoroki, blasting him out of the ring. As this happens, Todoroki actually, he is confused as he's dazed. He can only see through one eye, and he just sees Bakugo walking towards him. He's immediately just saying, Did I win? Bakugo would just say no. In fact, he kind of got his shit rocked. Anyways, get up. I'm taking you to recovery, girl. As these two would walk away. Now, as that happened, Bakugo just got himself a spot in the final round. Now then. I believe the final round. Yeah, well, yeah, he did. He just has to go up against Shinsho now in the semifinals. Now, Deku actually has to go up against Mina, and after he goes up against Mina, he'll have to go up against Ochako. Or, no, Mei has to go up against Deku, and afterward, Deku might have to fight Mei, or Mina, or Ochako. I'm sorry, everybody, this is very confusing in my head. I'm literally just waving around a pencil like I just realized I've been staring at a wall while recording. I need to go get some caffeine. Anyways, Deku immediately just thinks that if he's fighting Mei, essentially, just to try and keep her at arm's reach, so just fire, essentially throw shockwaves at her, and knock her out of the ring, because she did get very far, but she is not gonna fare up very well against him. As she walks into the ring, saying, essentially, she's glad that he basically took her with him, because she discovered more tech and a very big wonderland. In fact, some of the things she's still decoding is actually in the work. As she immediately holds up a gun, saying she even has this. She calls it a prototype. As Deku sees this little hand cannon, thinking, wait a minute, is that? Oh no. Mei, tell me you did not. Oh no, I did. This is the blueprints for they call it the BT, big fucking gun, I believe. It's hard to pronounce the 4 letters or 3 letters, but that's what they call it. As she immediately straps it to her arm, and it immediately covers her entire arm in an entire gauntlet. As she immediately aims it at Deku, firing it at him, Deku immediately just goes to dodge. He does so, and the entire area behind him just creates a giant hole. Mei sees this, and she actually somewhat thinks that was not good, as she tries turning down the settings a bit. Deku's rushing towards her, as she would be able to adjust it a little bit more in time, as Deku's directly overhead. if not directly in front of her, she immediately just fires it off, blasting Deku in the chest, sending him flying. Deku is able to create wings in time and actually stop himself from hitting the ground by simply essentially shifting his body weight into a spiral and actually turning himself around. Now, after this, Deku tells Mei that was not something to mess around with, and in fact, she should have told him that she even found that. Those things are dangerous. He's not even sure what their actual name is. Well, neither am I, but I'm thinking about calling these little babies something else. Well, you can do that, but at least stop using it. Why? I nearly just beat you with it. You don't understand what those things can do. What do you mean? Don't you remember our entire conversation last year? I took down a Titan with one of those. You saw how big those things were. Oh. Man. I really wanted to use it too. Well, at least let me do one more thing. As she immediately tweaks it a bit more, and she immediately just goes to fire at Deku. Deku would just say, "You idiot," as he actually rushes towards her, getting close enough to actually grab it and push it upwards. As it fires, Mei is essentially watching Deku as she immediately just turns on the self-destruct. As it essentially latches onto Deku's arm, Deku thinks, "Aw crap," as he essentially just turns his body into a ball, covering the entire explosion. As it blows up, he's asking Mei if she really had to do that, as his entire shirt is now scorched off. She's saying, yes, in fact, she did. Because she at least showed off that thing can do some damage. As she immediately points to Deku's chest, and there are a lot of burn marks, saying that this just proved her little hypothesis. So, she plans on at least making it good work. Well, hope you enjoyed it, man. Or hope you enjoyed it, Midoriya. As she immediately just walks off the stage and is actually disqualified. Mina versus Ochako. I believe Ochako would win, especially with gravity magic. So Mina loses. Shinsho versus Bakugo. Bakugo would immediately beat Shinsho, but he at least lasted with overpowered as crap people. So he at least got a spot in 1A. Guess who he's replacing? That's right, the copy bitch. I don't like calling him by his name. Copy bitch sounds funner. Plus, if I get demonetized, I'm not marked as family friendly. So it's a win. Basically allowing me to keep my videos 13 and up. Now, Deku versus Bakugo. I will cover this fight in the next part. I've already gone too far. But I will cover it, and I will also cover the stain attack. So, let me do that real quick.